I now call the East Lyme Zoning Commission regular meeting of January 5th, 2023 to order. It is 7:30 p.m. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. I'll start with a roll call. Myself here, Mr. Dwyer.
Here.
Mr. Granitek.
Present.
Mr. Jett.
Here.
Mr. Peck.
Yep.
Ms. Thurlow.
Here.
Mr. Ginsburg. Ms. Markovitz. Here. Mr. Schmidt.
Here.
Mr. Mulholland. We have Brooke substituting for Sue. Hello again. And Ms. Hardy. Okay. Public delegations. Public delegations is a time when members of the public are invited to speak to the commission on subject matters that are not on the agenda. We have no public here, so we're good. There's no public hearing tonight.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'll call to order that you cannot conduct any business until there are election of officers. And I did not notice on the agenda that was not listed as first.
That is correct. It is listed under new business.
So we should move that up.
Then let's move it up. Okay. Fine by me. Does everyone have an issue with that?
Okay.
What was that?
Alternates may not vote.
No, they may not. Then Ms. Hardy, would you please?
Roseanne, if people want paper.
Yes, okay. The first order of business for the new year is for the election of officers for zoning commission, officers to serve for this calendar year. So the first order of business will be the election of chair. Are there any nominations? Mr. Peck?
I'd like to nominate Terry Donovan as chairman.
Okay, is there a second to that? Terry Donovan has been nominated as as chair. Is there a second to that nomination? There must be a second. Hearing none, is there another name in submission for chair?
And I'm on Ann Thurlow.
All right, okay, nomination for Ann Thurlow. Is there a second for that nomination?
I'd like to second that nomination.
Okay, Secretary noting the votes, please. All right, are there further nominations for the position of chair? Seeing none, as the first nomination did not get a second, then there's one candidate to vote, and that must be a majority vote. Okay, so on the agenda, is a voice vote acceptable, or do you wish to vote by ballot?
Voice is fine.
Okay, all right. All of those in favor of Ann Thurlow for chair, please signify by saying yay.
Aye. Yay. Yay.
Mr. Dwyer, I'm kind of soft-spoken. Are you able to hear me? Are you able to hear me clearly?
Yay or nay for Ann Thurlow?
Okay. Do you not wish to vote? Bill, can you give
Point of order.
We all have to vote, correct?
We all have to vote.
Yes.
Correct. You did not ask for any nays yet, though.
No, I haven't yet, because I was worried that Mr. Dwyer did not appear to be able to hear me. So, all right. So we have a nomination on the floor. We have a second. All those in favor of Ann Thurlow for chair, please signify by saying yay.
Yay.
Okay.
Yes? Yay. Okay. Those opposed?
Nay.
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Granitek?
I'm in favor. Aye. Yay.
Of Terry. For Terry?
Ann.
Ann? Okay,
I'm sorry.
all right. So the yeas have it, and the chair for this year will be Ann Thurlow. Nomination for secretary?
I'd like to nominate Terry Granitek.
Okay. All right, we have a nomination for Terry Granitek for secretary. Is there a second?
I second.
All right, seconded by Ann Thurlow. Are there any further nominations? Seeing none, all of those in favor of Terry Granitek for chair, for secretary, please signify by saying yay.
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 Yep.
Okay. Opposed? Okay. All right, that's it. So congratulations to the new officers. Hopefully it'll be a good year.
Okay. Regular meeting. Is there any need for a public hearing? No? Regular meeting. Do we have a motion to approve and second the minutes of December? December 1st. Is there a second?
I second it.
Everyone in favor?
There is an error in the minutes. Debbie Jett did not vote to approve the minutes of December 1st. She abstained.
I know I abstained. I didn't know anyone else abstained.
Yep.
I'm in the minutes. I approve.
Did you abstain?
I was here, so I know. Where does it say it at, Terry?
If you watch the videos posted on the town's website, you were not there, and you abstained.
That's for the December 1st meeting?
No, for the November 17th.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Thank you.
Do we have a motion to approve with the amendment?
I have a question, Bill. I did read the minutes, so if we read the minutes, since I'm a new member, are we still allowed to vote on the minutes once we've approved them before we come to a meeting?
Yes.
We are? Okay, so I did read the minutes.
If you stay,
I read the minutes, yeah.
read the minutes
Okay,
and familiarize yourself with the agenda items,
okay,
then yes, you can
Okay.
vote, but you must make that statement.
okay. So, yes, I would still like to second it because I did read the minutes. I made myself familiar with them.
Okay, do we want to re-vote on that?
No, approve, disapprove.
I didn't think
You all
voted.
approve?
Approve.
Bill approved it, I'll second it.
Okay, everyone that will approve the minutes say aye.
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 Okay. Any abstain?
So you're approving it without the correction,
Sounds like.
even though that's not how the vote happened, though?
Okay, who made the motion to approve the minutes? Okay. Do you want to make an amendment with the change?
Accept it.
Okay. So are we fine approving it with the change? It's, does anyone disapprove?
I have to abstain, I'm pretty sure. Right? I don't think, I wasn't even there, was I?
No, you can abstain or you can approve
I'm gonna-
if you've read them.
I have to abstain.
Okay, so we have 5 approve, 1 abstain. Okay. Okay, the minutes. Has everyone looked at the planning schedule for 2023, the East Lyme Planning Liaison schedule? Is everyone fine with the schedule? Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the schedule?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, everyone in favor of the schedule, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Any abstain? 600, it passed. Old business. Architectural design review regulations in the CA commercial zone, any updates?
I'm working on it, thank you, Madam Chairman. And then on the Ionic Village CB zone bulk regs, we have a meeting scheduled. Is it Monday, Norm, at 2? Yes,
Yes.
thank you. In this room? To be determined. Let's start in this room. Let's plan on meeting in this room.
It said upstairs meeting room.
Yeah, there's one across the hall. I prefer that room if the space is available. I'll have to have Jen check for it.
How are you making out with the architectural design reviews?
Yeah, I'm working on.
The ones, I did go through them, and the ones from NOANC, you want to try to incorporate in there?
Yeah, those.
Because a lot of them are actually overwhelming, not overwhelming, but oversaying what is already in the regulations.
That's true, but you have to have some standards, because when you sit and you start to critique an application without those specific standards, because it's not a personal opinion whether you like green, black, gray, or purple. So we have to have some standards in there to ensure we protect ourselves legally.
And you plan on suggesting that to the Niantic Bulk District too?
No, the bulk is different. That's not architectural. But for the CA, it'll be very similar. At least that's where I'm headed. But when ready, I'll bring that in, and we can look at that.
Okay, moving on to new business. We will be having an application of Charles Cook for a special permit for indoor recreation at 170 Flanders Road for cardio sport by the bay. East Lyme Assessors, map 26.3, lot 11. And you are scheduling a public hearing?
That would be a public hearing, and we have it tentatively scheduled for the 19th.
Okay. Do any of the committee members want to bring up any business?
Yes, Ms. Chairman. Are you familiar with the East Lyme Zoning Commission's bylaws?
I do have them.
Are you familiar with how they're supposed to be registered with the town clerk?
I will be by tomorrow.
Okay, because according to the town charter, the listed commissions, I spoke with Mr. Mulholland, and he informed me that he spoke with our town attorney, who said that he did not have to file them with the town. And I will disagree with that, because right here in the charter, chapter 2, let's see, where's my other copy there? Well, after elected, where is it? Except otherwise provided in this charter, all boards authorized in this chapter shall meet within 30 days of taking office, Such regulations and any amendments thereto shall be filed with the town clerk and shall be public records. And when I did look into this in the beginning with Mr. Mulholland, I had 2010. And I noticed tonight that he has copies that are dated 2023. These bylaws are supposed to be adopted by the commission, not by Mr. Mulholland.
They weren't adopted by me. They were adopted by the commission.
And then back in 2008. So therefore, the cover letter should actually say 2008. It was done on January 3rd, 2008. Mr. Peck moved to adopt the zoning bylaws, and Ms. Carabella seconded the motion. And it should have been signed and turned over to the town clerk's office at that time.
Based on advice.
And you are not supposed to be, I understand, you sent me an email as well, that you're no longer allowed to contact the town attorney.
I talked to town attorney. He told me they didn't have to be filed in the town clerk's office. I will check with him again and bring up the town ordinance.
Would you like to see it? Right here.
Oh, I don't need to see it.
It's not an ordinance, it's a charter.
Yeah, I'll let him look at it and advise. I'll talk to him soon.
Please get the first selectman's permission.
Thank you.
Okay, moving
Carry
on.
on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have any comments from the ex officio?
I actually have a comment for the ex officio, please. No, please go up there.
You have something you'd like to ask me before I start?
Well, in terms of, obviously, it's a fair election and all that stuff, but the planning commission also forgot to put on the agenda the election of officers. Okay? They ran through their meeting, and their representative, Mr. Gaishel, suggested to their chairman to put it under the chairman's notes. Now, if this is being looked at as my fault, it is not. It is staff's fault. So, and I also have a point being is, can you change the agenda like that?
I'm not clear.
Not legally.
I'm not clear on what you're asking me as regards to planning, or is this now related
No,
to
the
zoning?
amended agenda.
For today?
Yeah.
The
So
amen-
how is it illegal?
the
When I
amend-
asked Mr. Mulholland this when it was brought to our attention by Ms. Jet Harris over there, our bylaws, which I looked up, say after the first Monday in December.
For the
No.
election of officers, are we
Yes.
discussing? Yes.
Yes.
And that was my fault in not calling that to your attention or reminding people. And I completely forgot that there would not be a December meeting, second meeting. Matter of fact, I showed up and wondered why the lights were off.
I heard that.
So I think it was an oversight. And as you didn't have a second meeting, are you wondering if what went on?
Well, how
in the
long have you
first
been
meeting-
liaison to the to the zoning commission? A long time, correct?
Yes.
So if you look at past minutes or past videos of meetings, the sitting chair at that time has always conducted the meeting until said items were presented on the agenda.
I have this.
So why now, all of a sudden,
I believe that I have always done the swearing in at the beginning of a meeting. I don't. I
you
know.
may
that-
look it up as well.
Well, let me finish.
It is on the town's website,
What is?
all that information.
I do not believe that we have done anything at fault.
Maybe Mr. Mulholland could ask our town attorney.
Well, I want to be clear on what you're asking. Are you asking if the items that were covered at the December meeting are now illegal because you had not elected officers?
No, what I'm asking you is tonight's meeting meets the criteria. In other words. So if what you did in point of order,
Yes,
and years past you have not done that,
because it has always been first. We've had election of officers as a meeting has begun.
I disagree with that. If you look up past minutes,
I don't think that this is something that the town attorney has to
well,
rule
he
on.
calls them on the, I was just curious because he calls them all the time, so. Yeah.
So your point being that tonight's business should have been conducted prior to the election of officers. And I did speak with town attorney yesterday, but I unfortunately had not looked at the agenda and realized that this was not first. As we were not adding any new business to the agenda, simply changing the order of the agenda, that should be
Who
sufficient.
drafted the agenda?
Excuse me?
Staff.
Who though, specifically?
Yeah, Jen drafted it, I signed it.
Okay.
And I
So you
did
signed the
notice this-
agenda.
Excuse me. And I noticed this morning the order, it was too late to amend the agenda this morning when it got under my nose.
Okay. But you're,
I'm not a
That's why
yes
it's
man.
in
But
that
you're
location.
not amending the agenda, you are simply moving the order of business, which as a matter of fact, we did last night at Board of Selectmen.
and your point being that business can't be conducted
That is what
legally
I,
unless
Correct.
officers are elected.
correct,
So therefore,
because we were overdue. So it should have been done the first meeting in December. I'm more than willing to clarify this with town council if the commission feels that that's warranted.
Do we, is there a feeling that this was intentional, or is this an oversight?
Oh, yes.
We feel it's intentional?
Oh, yes.
Why do you
The-
feel it's
And what would be
intentional?
what would be the benefit to that?
Because someone thinks I'm having an affair with the town land use secretary.
Okay.
I
So-
think we're way off topic, and I think
Yeah.
Ms. Hardy should
Yeah.
proceed with her ex
And I'm not a
officio
yes man.
comments. Let's proceed with the meeting.
Well,
For the record, I view this as an oversight because it is technically new business, but I agree with you is that it does need to be conducted prior to the commencement of the meeting.
correct. So it was an error in placement.
So I could
placement.
say that the person that drafted the agenda had an oversight, and the person that signed it may have also had an oversight, because it is new business, but it needed to go first.
Right. So,
And if anybody views it as intentional, then that's maybe something that can be brought up at a later time.
I
Will.
So let's move ahead with our
All
meeting,
right,
please.
so I'd just like to finish with this and to say that I'm going to stand by my statement that this has always been done at the beginning of the meeting. If we were to add an item to the agenda that was already on there, then we would need to go through the process of adding that item to the agenda. But as I said, at last night's Board of Selectmen meeting, we had a couple of unanticipated things. The items were clearly listed on the agenda. We simply rotated the items, which made no difference in the outcome of the meeting.
It's an in-house fix, that's it.
Yeah.
All right, well, and if you'd like me to go further with this,
No, you're
I,
fine.
Mr. Donovan, I would be willing to do that.
Go right ahead.
All right, planning and zoning, as relating to the Charter Revision Commission, there was some discussion on that at the last Charter Revision, and I think that considering that this has been brought up at by two previous charter revisions, and it did not pass, I think that the Charter Revision Commission has that information and is taking that into consideration. Many towns in the area, as we know, do have the combined planning and zoning, and I did speak at last night's charter revision stating that I felt that that really was not appropriate for our town, that by having planning and zoning separately, that gives us, with difficult applications, this gives us a second bite at the apple. And I think that the role of the two commissions is quite different. So I did not attend I did not stay for the subcommittee meeting, the subcommittee's meetings, but we have somebody we have an alternate to zoning who was also on charter revision, and he can comment further if he wishes to, and he can comment under comments from the public, unless somebody would like to, from the commission, would like to allow him to speak. That would be up to the commission. Hathaway Farms property, still under discussion by the Board of Selectmen. We are still seeking information that has not been provided to us by the developers. We have attorneys on both sides looking at the issue, and also the issue of the putting up Oswegatchie Hills property as collateral by the Land Trust for potential purchasing of that property if the town should decide not to purchase it. So there's a lot of legal business being transacted. As I said, there are a number of gaps in information that has been requested by the Board of Selectmen, which has not been forthcoming. The Historic Cemetery Commission and the applicant who's come before you previously for the gas station, and I guess we could say the gas station and deli, or how, I don't know how to phrase that.
Travel center.
Travel center, all right, that sounds very appropriate. We have had attorneys review the leases because they were under the impression that they would be able to use the access road to the historic cemetery. And that has been resolved, and there will be a common driveway to enter the property, and then the driveway will fork, and to the left will go the traffic for the business, and to the right would be traffic that would be going into the cemetery. And that access has to be open at all times. As a, shall we say, an effort of goodwill, they have agreed to replace the metal bars, the metal gates to the cemetery, which were stolen some time ago, and they are going to replace those gates at their expense. There is also, if you've driven by there recently, there is also a retaining wall that has been put up, which hopefully will prevent unwanted traffic from going into the cemetery. As you're aware, there are many fragile stones in the cemetery, and there will no longer be vehicle traffic allowed in that cemetery unless it is for the purpose of any kind of maintenance work that needs to be done. But people will not be able to drive in there any longer. And there already has been damage to several of the stones by people with larger vehicles going into the cemetery, turning around and kind of clipping the sides of the stones. Also, Parks and Recreation Commission and the Youth Services Commission have now been combined, and they will be into one agency, and they will be working together. That's all that I have for this evening. If there's anything else that I can answer, I'd be happy
Any
to.
more questions from Ms. Hart?
I do have a question, if I might revisit only just so I can know, since you always conducted the elections for the zoning commission.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay. So when I was reading the town charter, it states that we are supposed to pick a chairman, elect a chairman by December 31st. So I sent the email out to let everybody know that we hadn't done that and that I wanted to make sure it just got on the agenda. So upon doing that, if we started the meeting tonight, December 31st, Chairman Donovan's term would technically legally end. So it is to my understanding that we would have to vote first for an officer so we could have a legal meeting.
That is correct.
Because we can't have a meeting with a termination of a elected, a commissioner that we've passed the deadline. So
by Robert's Rules of Order,
is that
you may the current chair may open the meeting, but beyond that point, there is no business that can be conducted until election of officers. So I think we have a couple of missteps here. I thought that this could be done at the second meeting, the second zoning meeting in December. I forgot that they didn't meet, and so technically we should have done it at the first December meeting, and in the future we'll just have to keep that in mind if there's not going to be a second December meeting.
thank you.
So the meeting could not have continued because any business that you've conducted would have been null and void, and any votes taken. So,
Thank you.
all right.
Ms. Jet, where about in the
Thank
charter
you.
did you say that?
I don't know, I read it. I read the whole charter about 5 times, Terry. It says it's supposed to be done by December 31st. Not just for zoning, it's actually for all of them.
Yes,
All
committees.
all of them. Yeah, it's in there. I've read it quite a few times. And that's why when I sent the email out, I wanted to make sure that it at least got on the agenda, because if we didn't get it on the agenda and if we didn't do the vote, then every meeting we would have had after that would have been an illegal meeting because we didn't have a vote. That was my point in sending out, just to make sure it got on the agenda, period. That was it.
Okay, moving on. I think, Mr. Ginsburg, you said you were not able to get to the planning meeting, or they had canceled it?
They canceled the one that I was scheduled to go to. Apparently they had one that I didn't know about, but, so I did not.
Okay. All right, thank you. Is there anything else the committee would like to bring up before we adjourn? Going once, going twice. Meeting adjourned.
Move to adjourn.
Motion.
Move to adjourn. Second.
All in favor of adjourning the meeting? Ayes have it. Adjourned.